Hola familia estelar. Thank you guys for joining us for another journey. As you can see right behind me right now, we are at Graneros de Pinkuylluna in Ollantaytambo, and this is a very beautiful place. And today the moon is actually conjunct Ceres. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys, and then we're gonna get into the messages. But wow, it's taken a little while to hike up, probably about 10 minutes. So these were Incan storage houses, and they're high up on the mountains, as you can see, of Ollantaytambo. I'm gonna go ahead and go inside. Opa. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So the Graneros de Pinkuylluna were originally used to store grains from the Incas, and today the moon actually joins with Ceres when I'm entering here, and Ceres is all about harvestation. It's about fertility, abundance, and the agricultural cycles and rhythms. So that's definitely being highly activated in the energy. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you around. So what are you seeding, right? What are you planting during this time? And I'm hearing not just what is your life growing into, but who have you become? Who are you witnessing yourself blossom into during this period? And so here specifically, this meeting with Ceres conjoining with the moon in Aries is where it is calling you to plant seeds boldly and maybe even take a chance or take a risk. You know, Aries is all about making friends with the unknown and planting seeds in your life with calculated action. So it does ask you to begin to store, right, with the storage houses, what sustains you, and also sowing new beginnings with fire and courage. So you're reminded that nourishment is not just for the physical, but also for the soul. So these functioned as Incan storage houses, also known as kulkas, for maize and also for grains. And it was located, or is located, within high altitude to begin to allow wind to circulate to keep the food or the grains dry. So Pinkuylluna translates into the place of the flute, and these ancient granaries remind us that abundance is both something that is preserved but also released, and it's a reminder that the hand that lets go freely in this realm in the physical becomes the hand that receives. And this is not just about the physical, but it's also about energetically as well, how you can keep those cycles continuously storing, releasing, and receiving. And those are the cyclical cycles to become one with the ebbs and flows of the universal rhythm itself. And in Aries, the release becomes something that is a fiery, bold action that actually allows you to honor these cycles of life. And it's a reminder that Pinkuylluna, right, the flute, sings only when we release the breath, only when we exhale and let go. A magical song returns. So Ceres is the goddess of harvestation and nourishment, and she reminds us that when you release, you actually begin to step into a living synchronicity because you create space to be able to receive anew. So Pinkuylluna is where the flute is, and it's thought that the mountain got its name because of the ridges that resemble the shape of a flute, or because it was a sacred place that connected music and also ceremony. So the parallel esoterically is that the granaries store food, but the flute actually stores breath. And both of them are vessels that remind us that what is preserved must eventually be released in order to be able to sustain life and also step into more of an abundant life where you can continuously be in a state of surrender, release in order to make room to receive. When you stand at Pinkuylluna or where the flute is during this moon conjunct series, a goddess of agriculture, harvestation, and abundance, is not just about seeds that are placed in storehouses, but also this song that is waiting behind the release of your breath, right? Of your life force and the abundance that is carried in that voice, and honoring the cycles of giving and receiving in order to be able to keep the spirit alive. And it's when we hold on that we create stagnancy. And then that mirrors as external blockages, right, that we experience. But it's actually when you release, right, the hand that releases is also the same hand that receives. And it's about creating space and really creating a pause for a new flow. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you the first card of the day. Oh yeah, and did I mention that I'm recording this on the 9/9 portal in a numerical 9 year? So this is all about period 9, where the human condition lifts and you begin to look at life through the lens of the soul, and the veil between realms really begins to thin. So we had 999 come out. Of course we did. And it's literally the portal card for entropy, and parsec. So parsec's portal card is 999. So this is literally a portal for you. This talks about the release, okay? So, let me read it. It says, endings are new beginnings in disguise. An ending symbolizes the closure of one door and the opening of another. The whisper is reminding you to release and allow, and it's in the release where the magic happens. The affirmation is, doors open for me where others have closed, bringing transformation to my mind, my body, and my soul. And it's a beautiful energy because with 999, and again, this placement being in the sign of Aries, it does require bold action and also assertive action where you're not waiting for conditions to be perfect, but instead you're planting with intention and you're seeing how that intention grows and manifests. So this is nourishment that happens through leadership that literally leads to new beginnings in your life. And it's about the cycles of loss that equals a return. This is about your energy circulating back around you. Even with money, I feel like a lot of this is to do with abundance in general, where it's never money spent or money lost, it's money invested. And I feel like this is about how you're investing in yourself right now, whether that's financially, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, energetically. That energy circulates and it returns back around to you tenfold. This is about often experiencing themes of separation or even rejection, potentially in family dynamics, but the lesson is that you can remother yourself through that fight and that action. And the shadow side of it being in Aries is sometimes anger or impatience that can emerge, especially emotionally, when things aren't seen instantly. But it's a reminder that the path reveals itself when your feet move like it's already there. And in Aries, this is about the path that reveals itself when you do take that step boldly, as if your feet already know the way. And this is about that fiery eternal flame within you, that eternal light that's forever guiding your path, that is showing you the way. The Graneros teach us that to release is to actually have faith in these cycles. To walk with trust is to be able to receive the song that is waiting behind the breath, and also the harvest that is hidden within the seed. This is about the outcome to something that you're planting right now. And with the moon, I'm seeing the Moon Maiden card. So these are about cyclical cycles that you move through. And her teaching is that you go through cycles where sometimes you're working behind the scenes, or you're doing things behind the veil, and you're keeping what is precious close to your heart until the time is right. And when you do release this, maybe into the world, or this version of yourself that you've been nourishing and caring and tending to, I'm hearing that there'd be no doubt in anyone's mind of the power that you unleash. But it's not just an announcement that the Moon Maiden makes, it's an embodiment. It's her very presence that speaks for her. And she doesn't ask for permission in order to have those cycles of rest, for she knows it will lead to renewal. And so, with this being an Aries, it's very fitting that the 𝓤𝓪𝓻𝓵𝓭 Galactic Council came out. This is about there being a time to shine. And I do feel like this is something that is coming to the surface, and I'm hearing it is a new you that's emerging. It talks about star beings, answer the call, and it's time to shine. This is a call to action. You're being asked to step up and create the changes that you want to see in the world. You have a reason for being here, and you have the potential to inspire, support, and heal your corner of the world. Don't let this information scare or overwhelm you, for you are being prepared energetically to step into this role. And I'm hearing this does require you to almost like release old thought forms or emotions, I'm hearing, or patterns or behaviors, and especially belief systems that could kind of disrupt or obstruct the way that you see yourself and the way that energy will freely move through you. And it does literally require almost like the releasing of an old, I'm hearing not just paradigm, but an old version of yourself, maybe an old identity and belief systems that were attached to that old identity. So the ideas you've been having recently are divine downloads. You aren't being called to make dramatic changes to your life, simply to move forward step by step. The 𝓤𝓻𝓻 Galactic Council will reveal more information to support you. Be aware of downloads of information and spiritual signs for their confirmation that you're on the right path. So we'll go ahead and have like a meeting in a bit and see what the messages that come through are. But your starseed messages are to get grounded, empaths, highly sensitive, and connect with nature. So again, returning back to that cyclical flow of the universe, which is always, I'm hearing the law of exchange. So again, this is about something that you release in order to make room to receive, okay? And earth pulsing is about pulse of the mother, slow down, and time in nature. So there is something about you really getting grounded, maybe anchoring your roots firmly down into the earth, right? Where your intention becomes your anchor, okay? I'm hearing to anchor you and make you feel safe, secure, and grounded upon the release, okay? Because I'm hearing sometimes it's in holding onto something where you have an illusion of security, but really it creates stagnancy. And it's in the release where your freedom lies, and also where abundance lies. Especially when it comes to like money flow or money blogs, you know, that's almost what I'm seeing it as. And then you also have caterpillar opportunities. So this talks about the new and vital, like life force energy. Basically, it talks about vitality cannot emerge from the old and sickly. And this is about you giving yourself permission to do something. I'm hearing that you've known that you need to do for a long time. But the one message with this card is about lunacy, is the definition of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So it is calling for you to literally step up and create that change, and not just create it, that happens through your embodiment, okay? There's something around embodying that change or that version of yourself that you want to see. And it does remind me of a very specific message, and I'm going to find it. So it is a rite of passage with the moon and Ceres intertwined. Endings become fertile ground for you, and this is about you blessing the cycle that is now behind you, where you gather the wisdom from the past, right? From what it is that you've gained through past experiences as food for the spirit, right? Etheric growth that's happening. And that translates into physical growth, where you begin to open a field of possibilities where the next seeds will take root and actually multiply. And I'm seeing the act of blowing a dandelion, where the dandelion never actually clings to its seeds. Instead, it releases them to the wind. Trust that that act of actually letting go is the very thing that makes way for its energy to, I'm hearing not just amplify, but multiply and to spread across vast distances. And I'm hearing its life force continues to expand into new terrain. And if you think about a dandelion, it usually is a wish, right? It usually is an intention that's being carried by the winds, and it leads to 1,000 wishes. It's almost like that one intention leads to so much more. I'm hearing that one wish translates into many more blessings that you hadn't even asked for. And I'm hearing this is about being open to receiving all forms of abundance. So it's trusting that letting go is the only way that you can make room for life to begin to multiply. And abundance is not in actually holding, but in intentionally directing. And so, of course, it's really uncanny that the Queen of Pentacles with the Seven of Wands both came out today. And it does represent that you have a green thumb. You really, really do. And anything that you touch is turning to gold. It is almost like the King Midas touch during this time. Queen of Pentacles, again, she's this character that sits underneath these money trees that began and started from just a single seed. But she knew that within that single seed held the DNA of it being able to blossom into its full potential. She doesn't force, but instead she cultivates. And she's known as the geomancer, or reminiscent of the all-seeing eye, and she kind of weaves a new existence from literally her fingertips and her ability to begin to actually release and honor those cycles. I'm hearing it's when you resist the cycles of change that you will experience stagnancy, because there is a resistance to the blossoming of your own becoming. I'm hearing it's inevitable for a seed, when planted under the right conditions, right, you being seeded onto this planet with all the environmental factors working in your favor, to not blossom. It's about a mustard seed of faith and planting with courage during this time. Even if it looks insignificant, right, even if it looks like something that is so small, the faith itself is the fertile, okay, or the fertilizer that nourishes the seed in the soil, right? It is the decision that you plant, and even when you cannot see the forest that will grow from it, you have faith. I'm hearing of how that seed or action will translate into, I'm hearing, the course of your future. It's how that act in the present moment of planting that seed will alter the future timelines that you will align with and that you will experience. So over time, that small seed actually begins to take root, and it begins to draw in unseen resources where there's sunlight, there is water, there is soil, everything that aligns with the seed on its path, you transversing through space and time, where it has everything that it needs that is necessary for its expansion. The seed grows from humble beginnings. So there is something about you starting from something so small and then being able to witness in all the ways that you expand and blossom. And that's the game of polarity and contrast. Prosperity that begins to flow to you pretty much from all directions, right? From unexpected forms that you could not have predicted. And each leaf is a symbol of almost a provision, where each branch becomes a channel of faith, and you get to see how I'm seeing like these branches as branching universes and also timelines where you walking with that faith and not sight. I'm hearing there is a sight unseen until it collapses through space and time and becomes something that you can look at in the physical. But you can foresee a vision, and your feet will guide you, your heart will guide you. And I'm hearing your heart will guide which next step to take in the physical. And the path begins to collapse in front of you, and I'm hearing you actually gain clarity through that action. When you walk, like your feet already know the path is there. Like your feet already know the way. And that does lead to some kind of tangible blessing of some kind. To tangible outcomes or destined outcomes that await you as you walk on the path of that continuum through space and time into an inevitable becoming or an inevitable outcome. So Ceres and the moon teaches us that you don't need to start with wealth. You need to start with faith, right? And courageous, bold action. And the money trees are not just finances, right? It does represent almost the flourishing systems in your life, like creativity or security or even support that you have that actually lead to freedom. They are the factors that actually reflect how a single seed of belief And more than belief, it's almost like you're sowing something with a knowing during this time. Can alter your entire ecosystem of experiences. I'm hearing that intention that is planted opens you up to a new selection of timelines. I'm hearing each seed that you sow, you will reap. And these seeds can be woven unconsciously or consciously. So are you planting seeds of fear? I'm seeing that's the seed that is afraid to germinate. And its life contracts and it never breaks through the surface. It never gets to see all the ways that it can flourish in this experience because its fear is holding it back from breaking through into a new atmosphere. But when it remembers that it is the key to move freely between realms, what used to be its ceiling becomes its floor. And I'm hearing it's met with a complete new reality. So money trees bloom, but not by force, but from the natural law of faith, in which that faith multiplies itself. And so the Queen of Pentacles is like Mother Earth energy. She would be a Ceres energy, and she reminds you that abundance is not something that is found outside of you, but it's actually cultivated through you. And that abundance flows through you freely and expands and branches into your experience. Anything that you touch, it's not because of what you do, but because of how you do it. It's because of who you are and the essence of who you are being infused into whatever you do. It's not about where you are, but you bring your energy wherever you go. Therefore, abundance follows. And there's also a message that's coming through, especially with the Seven of Wands here, where it's a self-preservation card, and it can even represent somebody who is in survival mode, and can, in its shadow, basically represent someone that has a lot of self-doubt, right, with the solar plexus being depicted in this symbology of their ability as a creator, and to trust that it's in releasing their defenses that they get to witness the magic of them, the magic that awaits them in the release. Okay guys, let's see. We had an interesting angle right now. Of course it's come out again. Seven of Wands. It's in the release where a wish comes true, right? Because we have the Star card here at the base too. Death and rebirth, that energy in which you release, right? It's never lost, it's never destroyed. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred or recycled. So again, there's something about the release of your energy allows for it to transfer into different forms. I'm hearing even into higher octaves. And I'm also seeing your vibrational state at the time of that ending, right? At that time of death will dictate and determine the dimensions, right? Or frequencies or vibrations that are in resonance to how you... I'm hearing... Okay. The vibrational frequency of your thought and emotion and how you relate it to the release of something or the ending of something will dictate the form in which you receive the new thing. So if you release something in a flow state, knowing that abundance flows back around to you and circulates back around to you, right? Because energy always does. It transfers into a high octave. The message was that every action is a seed, and what you plant in vibration, you will harvest in form. Death in one season becomes the doorway into a new life, and there is something around that energy transforming itself. Okay, that energy transforming itself, that seed is transforming itself. It's in your action that begins to transform your life, and whatever falls away, make space for what is ready to grow in, and I'm hearing be replaced. So I'm hearing it's a constant recycling or up leveling. You know, that's almost how I'm seeing it, where how silly would it be for when autumn rolls around and the leaves kind of begin to fall off of a tree, for a tree to be afraid to lose its leaves, because even a leaf cannot fall from a tree without the universe's permission. And there could be a belief system in regards to being afraid to lose your leaves, or being afraid to shed. I'm hearing like even just an outdated version of you, or something that you've been holding on to. Okay, that's what I'm seeing it as, something that you've been holding on to. And you don't realize that in doing that, you make room for a new season to emerge. Muchas gracias, familia estelar, for joining me at Graneros de Pinkuylluna in Ollantaytambo. It was honestly such a beautiful message, such a beautiful place to visit. I'm super grateful that you guys get to experience this with me, and yeah, I hope you enjoy these journeys as much as I do. So that will be it, guys. Let me know, okay, if you made it up to this point. Comment down below the wheat emoji, or some kind of crops, or some kind of seed, something to do with plants, whatever it is that you're growing, okay? And get creative with it. I want to see something that you feel like is representative of you during this time. It represents you, and whatever this intention is, and the energetic signature behind it. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around for the journey, literally. Personal reading details also down below, although if you're seeing this in September, there will be a waiting list for October. And I'll speak to you very, very soon. Until next time, I'll leave you off with this beautiful view once again. Hasta la vista.
Clouds in the sky don't care if I stay all day. Dreaming of time when you and I were dancing.